Okay, you guys are probably wondering what the heck this video is about. If you saw the thumbnail, well, I'm over here on Reddit, and this person, Dude Stowe, made a post called Star Trek Online Fade to Black. And it's been quite influential over here if you're not on the Reddit, and I wouldn't blame you if you're not. It has 128 upvotes currently, and for the Stowe Reddit, that's a lot. So this is a very popular post. And I think this person makes a lot of good points, so I wanted to read through it as just sort of a discussion, jumping off point, and we can talk about it, and you guys can tell me how you feel about it in the comments below. I think this is a really great discussion to have, so let's go ahead and read it. I have played Star Trek Online since day one release. First on PC, then after it came to console. I made the switch to Xbox. I was a money player up until recently and never missed a sale. And that's a lot of sales, so this person has spent a boatload of money. I just love the game that much. I'm a lifer, quote unquote, I used to say when asked about Stowe. This person has been committed. I mean, this is talking 12 plus years, thousands and thousands of dollars. This person is all in. Spending money on the game, however, started to be harder and harder to justify for me. There was a switch from the production of replayable content that made the player invest time and effort, such as reputations, specialization, fleet holdings, R&D, Admiralty, and the DOF system. Those things were all dropped in favor of events and new ships with a new storyline added every few months that I play 1 or 2 times, maybe 3 if there's anything good as reward bonus. That is so true. And that's the paradigm we currently find ourselves in. Never-ending events, where you're just rerunning the same content like a patrol over and over and over again, or they'll put out 2, 3, 4 episodes a year, which may be high production value, and depending on your orientation, they might be good or bad, but they don't have a lot of replayability. You play it 3 or 4 times and you're pretty sick of it. So there isn't a lot to do, there isn't a lot to progress. And whenever they do touch these old systems like doffing or Admiralty or whatever, they're not really doing it in a positive way. They don't expand it or improve it. It's usually to make it worse or to take away rewards or something like that. And I know they've lost people. For example, they've said in the past that they've lost people who knew how the duty officers worked. They've lost people who knew how the foundry worked. That's one of the reasons they had to close that down. So it's absolutely true that we don't get new fleet holdings. They say they can't afford it. There's no return on investment. We can't get Admiralty. We can't get duty officer stuff. They're not going to do new reputations. They've said that. They're not going to do new specializations. They've said that as well. So all these systems this person is talking about, it's absolutely true. They're completely dead. And the company line is that they don't have any plans to change that. Events are good. I like them, but they are just variations on existing content. I do enjoy the new ships, but after the last few, I thought, what's the point of this latest, greatest build that helps me finish a patroller mission 5 seconds or 10 seconds faster than before? The depth of the game has become eroded after so many years of ignoring what makes Star Trek Online so great to begin with. So clearly, this person's not a DPS chaser. They don't care about making their ship better because at a certain point, the speed limit's 55 miles an hour. Who cares if you go 210 miles an hour instead of 200 miles an hour? It's all superfluous anyway. And clearly the progression-oriented stuff and at least more frequent storytelling was clearly what this person preferred, and they don't do that anymore. Take the Dyson Sphere, for example, a complete adventure zone. Space and ground areas to explore with story content weaved throughout. Ships that go along with the theme, a reputation with gear specific to the area. Now we get a story mission or a ship or 2, sometimes a pack, and if we're lucky, a patrol, which is just a cutout portion of the mission. That's definitely true. They've done that a couple of times. When questioned about anything that adds depth, Cryptic responds with too much work, not worth it, doesn't make enough money. The last one, I think, being the bigger motivator. And if you watch the 10 Forward streams, you must be a masochist. I watch them because I'm a content creator and I can't stand it. They're boring as hell. Those 10 Forward streams are awful to sit through. Hale does not keep them moving. There's so much superfluous crap in there. And if you look at the summaries that people put on Reddit, which are really good, because whenever I watch the stream and then read the summary, I can tell they do a good job. This is exactly what this person says. Anytime you ask them anything other than when are we going to get a new ship, preferably a gambling ship, the response is always, we can't do it, we won't do it, we don't want to do it, we don't have the people who with the expertise, we don't have the money, it's not going to be return on investment, it's just no, 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 no. So they're pretty firm that basically anything anyone's ever asked for, the answer is no. So we can expect that we're not going to get new adventure zones, we're not going to get any of this new stuff, it's just going to be endless events and a handful of missions a year. That seems to be where they want the game to be. So if you're like this person, that's not cutting it for them anymore. This is a diehard. This person is like the kind of people they can't afford to lose. Last year, Cryptic said they had the best year ever financially. I know part of it was due to COVID lockdowns, but for the first time since Victory is Life released, they decided to do something new and gave us the Klingon Recruit event. Let's back up for a second. Why was COVID so important? One, it gave a big boost to video games in general because people were home all day. But two, they went completely work from home, so they no longer have the costs associated with maintaining the building and all that stuff. The Cryptic is completely work from home now, so they save money on operational costs, plus presumably they had more players and more revenue coming in just from the pandemic bump, and still they're not really doing anything with it. It seems like the game is only being cut down rather than built up. So they're just pocketing the money, basically. Did they learn about the popularity of the new in-depth additions to the game? No. After that year, they turned around and said, we're going to repeat the year over again, facepalm. And if you guys don't remember, that's quite literally, they copy and pasted the previous year's announcement. So when they announced the recruitment event, it was a copy paste from the previous year's. So it said there was going to be new content, and people thought, great, they're rerunning the recruitment event, and it's going to have new stuff. But that's because it was new stuff from the year before. So not only was there nothing new this year, but they couldn't even be bothered to edit the freaking blog post. And I think that's, why this person singled this out in particular. Well, I'm going to be completely honest here. I had a game allowance for Stowe of $200 a month. In terms of industry standards, that might be a small whale in terms of some of the crazy people who are spending thousands a month, but that is definitely a whale territory. This person is a whale. $200 a month, they're spending over $2,000 a year. That's a lot of money. I justified it because I don't have any other hobbies that cost money or had any other games I wanted to play. A couple months ago, I decided the game just isn't worth spending money on anymore. What depth of game they have is several years old now, with no effort to give us adventure zones, etc. So to say those things don't make enough money simply isn't true, at least not in my case. They get no more money from me. This is a whale who's quitting. This person is done. They've been here for 12 years. They've made it their only game, their only hobby. They're spending hundreds of dollars a month on the game. And what they're saying is, I don't want more gambling ships. I want more stuff to do. And I made a whole video about this, about how there's nothing to do in the game and how that's a big problem. And I said in an even more recent video that it's hard for anyone to make this their main game because there just isn't enough to do in the game. This is like a side game now because they just don't put out enough content for it to be a regular game. And what this person is saying is, if you want my money, give me a reason to log in every day that isn't bullshit. All right, I've gone from hours of play a day to me logging in, running my event, doing 3 endeavors, which is more than I do. I don't do the endeavors. I decided a while back I'm not doing busy work anymore. Giving the exchange a quick look so they can buy stuff from Spencer, and then logging off until tomorrow. So in my own experience, Cryptic's efforts to sell me hundreds of dollars in new ships to use in 3 or 4 hours of new content a year. And let's just appreciate that that statement is 100% true. They put out a few hours of content a year. It's insane. Just doesn't cut it anymore, regardless of who they bring in for the voice acting. So yeah, they get Kate Mulgrew, they get all these people, but they're constantly coming to us, hat in hand, give me hundreds of dollars for a ship, but they give us nothing to do. And it is actually not just me, this is a bona fide whale. The people who keep this game alive, who's saying, I've had enough. This isn't what I want. I'm done. I've gone from a money player, trying to build up my fleet holdings, run my reputations. And by the way, when he says here, I've gone from a money player trying to build up fleet holdings, this is the person keeping the Dilex going as well. So if you're a free player or a low spender and you're upset about the dilithium exchange, a lot of the dilithium being bought off the exchange is from people like this who are running their own fleets, and they're buying the dilithium to fill all of the stuff themselves because their fleet members aren't contributing. And that's why we saw a big increase in price when they didn't add a new fleet holding. The colony fleet holding had a big impact, but once most fleets had that finished, people like this weren't buying the dilithium anymore. Run my reputations, mind my friends in adventure zones, and work away at crafting to logging on briefly to punch my event clock with fading hope that they might bring back some of the old magic. Now here's where the cynicism in me comes out, and I say, I have to take them at their word. They have a 10 forward stream every week, and they make it pretty clear that they're not going back to the way it used to be. Every time they lose staff, they don't replace them. All the staff that got lost from Magic the Gathering did not get rehired. Anytime someone quits, they don't seem to rehire them. They're work from home now. They don't even have an office anymore. Like, the team just gets smaller and smaller and more dissipated. They're constantly telling us they're unwilling to put money into the game. They got acquired by Embracer Group, and that has done nothing to increase their budget. This seems to be the path forward until maintenance mode. So if you're a whale, or maybe not a whale, just maybe a regular player who doesn't like the way the game is now, I mean, it's not going to get better, right? Why give them more money if they're not going to make the game better? That's just throwing good money after bad. If you like the game the way it is, that's great. No one's telling you don't have to, you have to not like the game. If you like having all of these events, if you like the higher production quality stories that are only put out a few times a year, if you're happy with the game the way it is, that's fine. Just go ahead and enjoy it. But this person clearly isn't. I'm not. To a certain degree, I've decided to go free to play myself because I don't appreciate the direction the game's gone in. And there's a lot of comments here. We're not gonna, read all of these. You could maybe go here. I'll put a link in the description so you can come read the comments yourself. But I'm interested in knowing what you guys think. Are you happy with the state of the game right now? Or do you feel like this person does, that the direction the game is going in right now is just not right? And what do you think of this this conversation? I'd love to get your opinion. And thank you guys so much for watching. Special thank you to my channel members. I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.